how in God's name is this not going to be just a total wipeout for Republicans in November? I mean, what is it that Republicans are going to say? Um, am I missing something here? Are we not headed to 40 seats in the House?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I wrote a piece on Friday saying things are bad now for Republicans, but they're about to get a lot worse, actually. And
So
you know,
knew you knew he was going to threaten war crimes and put out that message on Easter, you know?
no, I think that if you just assess the data from the last few weeks, what's been remarkable is that public opinion data and even kind of the economic data in the first couple of weeks of the war was people thought it might end quickly, and so they were reserving judgment. And then really in the last 10 days, public opinion has turned unbelievably sharply against both the war and against Trump. And he's seen a precipitous decline in polling of all kinds, independent polling and Republican polling. We've seen now Senate polling showing us ahead in Alaska, Democrats ahead in Alaska, in Ohio, in North Carolina, Maine, competitive in Iowa and Texas. All of a sudden, like what looked like a rough kind of, and then the Gallup data for the first quarter had the party ID jumping for Democrats being up by 10 points in party ID, which is a 14-point shift from where it was at the end of 2024. Huge shift and a huge lead Democrats opening up, at least in this one measure. So, Stuart, what's important is that I think that people kind of, our head around the war was, let's see how it goes. It could end quickly. Things might snap back. But that hasn't happened. I mean, the public opinion has broken sharply. But the second thing that I think is about to happen, and I've been writing about this a lot the last week, is that we're going to start getting the March economic data. And the CPI that's coming out on Friday, the nowcast as it's called, has the CPI increasing almost a full percentage point in 1 month, which would be over 10% annual rate increase in inflation on Friday. If that happens, and if that nowcast is correct, and we've already seen the GDP numbers now go from over 3 down to 1.6, like what's starting to happen is that all the projections and all the data around the economy are starting to get darker and more ominous and more dangerous for our economy and for our country. The sort of a before and after moment could be this Friday, with the CPI number coming in at a higher annualized rate than even it was under Biden at any point. And during the Ukrainian war, either when Russia attacked Ukraine. So I think to your point, like things were bad for the Republicans before the war. They've gotten an awful lot worse. And one sign of the panic has been Trump's, EO last week, executive order, basically putting the post office in charge of, the elections and all the other insanity that was in it. That's all going to be, is already being sued. But the other thing that happened today, Stuart, and you should talk about this, the Senate Republican super PAC just announced a $342 million buy in March in 8 states, including Alaska, Iowa, Ohio, Maine, North Carolina. It's mostly defense. There is some wishful thinking offense in there too, which they had to do just for cover. But this is a gargantuan buy, and this early. And it's all TV, by the way. It's reserving ad time probably through the election. I didn't get the details, but you're starting to see these kinds of signs of panic emerging in the electoral class of the Republican Party, who still have their jobs as you used to have of getting candidates elected and winning in tough places. And so, yeah, I think that they are, but it also means, I think, if I could add one other point, that the impetus for illicit ways of staying in power without winning the election outright, which he did in 2016 with his conspiracy, his open collaboration with the Russians, and he tried to do in 2020 and 2021, the chance that there are now extraordinary things that he may try to do to retain power, given how the bottom is falling out politically and economically for him and the Republican Party, those rise.